Welcome back. Tonight's lesson and the very first lesson for my photography masterclass group is about creating impactful images, mastering photographic impact. So, this first image is one that I have hanging very large in my studio. I think it's like a 50-inch. It could be smaller, but it's a huge canvas in my studio. If you've ever been in there, you've seen it. The reason I printed it so large is because of the impact it's had on people over the years. People often come back and they bring up this image. And while it's not technically a perfect photo by any means, it's one that people always think of, and it definitely had that impact on them. So, what is impact? The definition of impact is to have a strong effect on someone or something. This image, The Burning Monk by Malcolm Brown from 1963, is one of the most impactful images I've ever seen. I think images like this have the power to really make people think and change their minds about things. Um, it was one that was used in an album cover by the band Rage Against the Machine. And it's definitely one in history that keeps that impact. Here's an image that I took of a bride getting ready. And while it's technically not like a perfect photo, it definitely has the impact because your eye is looking for what the subject is and you immediately see it framed there in the mirror and the only thing in focus is the girl. So it's kind of an interesting image. So Ansel Adams once said, "You don't take a photograph, you make it." Here's an image of Ansel Adams' work that I always think of when I think of him. Now, this is one of his most popular images. It's the Grand Tetons in the Snake River, taken in 1942. And he used not only the light and dark techniques, but he used good photographic composition like leading lines, and he used an S curve, and he definitely kept your eye looking in the image in the frame for a while. So 90% of images are judged on impact alone. Impact is the primary factor that makes a lasting impression on the viewer and is used to elicit an emotional response. With attention spans being shorter than ever, impact is the key to grabbing the viewer's attention within the first couple of seconds. 2 to 3 seconds is really all that you get to grab that viewer's attention. Using powerful imagery keeps the viewer engaged and increase the likelihood of a desired response, such as purchasing a product or a service. So, those of you that are interested in learning more about marketing, one of the most powerful tools a photographer has for marketing, especially on social media like Facebook and Instagram, is impact. If you can get the viewers to look at your images and keep their attention, they're going to want to hire you. Here's an image that I took that, while it's not, again, not a technically good photo or perfect photo, it definitely grabs the viewer's attention. It evokes an emotional response. A lot of people laugh when they see it. Of course, having a dog look like it's reading the book Cujo by Stephen King is pretty funny. And this client actually kept this as her profile picture for over a year. Here's another image that I took of a family, and sometimes instead of just creating posed portraits, it's better to create an emotional response from your clients to actually have that impact and have them have an emotional response when looking at the image. So they are having a real moment here, laughing and smiling. And of course, when they look back at that, it evokes that emotional response and has an impact on them, even years later. So impact in photography is creating stunning images. Impact is all about capturing the viewer's attention in a powerful way. It's about making a lasting impression with your photos. So you see here, I have some images. I'm not actually a sports photographer by any means, but I have been hired in the past to photograph different teams. And this was actually a national track, excuse me, national track championship that I photographed for the NCAA. And you can see the image on the left. That image was published multiple times in newspapers and on campus papers and such. The image in the middle was also published multiple times. And both of those, have different impacts for different reasons. The girl in the middle, I don't know if you've ever seen a steeplechase before, but they're literally jumping over these big hurdles and landing in water, landing in a pool of water and having to run out of it. But it kind of shows that not only the emotional response, but what's happening there. And then, of course, the image on the right is just an old image that I took of my son playing football. And sometimes literal impact can be impactful in photography, can create that impact. So, color and mood is another way that we create impact. Um, it's a powerful tool. You can use warm colors to create a sense of intimacy or cool colors to create a sense of distance. You can evoke a wide range of emotions in your viewer just by using color. So here, this first image is one that I took. Of course, you have the fall colors, and it's a very sweet photo and a sweet moment. And with the warm tones, it just kind of makes you feel warm and fuzzy. And another image here, again, with a portrait that used color for that impact. So, and sometimes, usually, I typically would say to use cool tones in architecture, but sometimes you can use it to create images that are kind of like, um, sometimes you want to create a different type of emotion in your images. And this one is it kind of reminded me of a shoe ad like in the 90s, and I thought the cooler tones were definitely more appropriate for it. And this one, while it uses both warm and cool tones, you can definitely see the use of color creates that impact. Now, framing your image is the maximum effect of impact. So framing your subject in a way that makes it stand out is really important. So here you could see I literally framed her, the same girl, and this could mean shooting from an unusual angle or using leading lines to draw the viewer's eye to the subject, or it could be just literally framing them. Here's another example where I literally framed them with their barn for their wedding. Now, here are some examples of framing and leading lines. So, the left image is one that definitely brings your eye up into the image and up to the subject. The image in the middle uses lines all around the subject to really make the subject the focal point. So, if your eye wanders out, it typically wanders back in. And then the image on the right is one that is not only using lines, but also framing the subject as well. So using contrast is another way you can do it to emphasize your subject. Here's an image that is both light and dark, and you can definitely tell what the subjects are, both the sky and the Milky Way, which that's an actual image of the Milky Way. and the bride and groom. While it is a little bit harder to see the groom in this because he is dark, you can definitely tell that it's a bride and groom because of the bride wearing the white color in the image. So, using contrast to emphasize your subject. One way to create impact is to use contrast in your images. By emphasizing the difference between light and dark, you can draw the viewer's eye exactly to where you want it to go. Here's another image of a family, and I think you can definitely tell where your eye is supposed to go. And it's not just on the background or the darker places in the image, but literally on the outlines of the faces. And here's a funny one. I've been hired to photograph 4 magazines and 4 different websites over the years, especially for the Telluride Horror Show Festival that happens every year. And this is when the killer clowns from outer space happened there, and the actual one of the directors was there, and they gave a presentation beforehand, and I used the light and dark for and framing for the impact here. Really, they created the impact. I just took an image of it. So, I want you guys to go out there and create impact in your images. And please, if you aren't already a member of the group, please join the group. And then I want everyone to add a picture that they feel is impactful or has impact. It doesn't have to be good, it can be taken with your cell phone, but I want to see what impact is to you. So post it into the group with the hashtag impact, or just you can quote impact and I'll find it. And we'll see what everyone says. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.